share the journey of everyone, and everyone would be welcome to join us today. So I share their journey with you to get to know more about the world through the digitality. So today we have a wonderful guest, Miss an academician who journey reflects a deep commitment to education, research, and intellectual growth. And her work is rooted in advancing knowledge, encouraging critical thinking, and continuing to the communities and the academic communities meaningfully. So today we'll have a chat more about her. So first of all, hey there, Miss Courtney, how are you doing today?
Hi, I'm doing well, thank you. And I will tell you before I just want to let you know that your voice is a little bit, it's not coming in very clear. So I'm going to do my best to answer the questions that I can hear. But I'm well, thank you.
So now it's clear.
That's a little bit better.
All right, that's great to know. So before we start with our questions, I'd like to ask you if you would like to add a little more about.
Yeah, no, well, you covered it. I think that you did a really great job. But yes, as you said, my name is Courtney Bailey, and I consider myself an international educator. I have lived in Turkey, and I usually teach to students and to teachers all over the world. So I love what I do. I'm from the United States, but I consider myself a global citizen. So I really enjoy being culturally competent and aware and being able to connect with different cultures and just hear different languages and really being able to get to know about society and the world around me.
It's a very mind-blowing thing, Miss Courtney, because I've never ever heard of all teachers around the world. So that's wonderful, and we'll get to know more about you. So first of all, would you like what pivotal moments guide your to academia?
Oh, so I don't think that there was one pivotal moment. I think that there were just a lot of different moments that I realized that this was something that was important, not just to me, but beyond me, because I realized that with me developing my literacy or my knowledge, my capacity to learn, I can share that with other people because I am in contact with other people so frequently. So I think that, when I first started in my studies in academia, it was more so for me because I wanted to develop myself. But then, rather, as I increased with my degrees and certificates, and just with the research, I realized that I can really, it's not about me anymore, but rather about the people around me. How can I use my knowledge to help other people? How can I support other people? And be an advocate and an ally for other people. So I think when I realized that I can help other people through my knowledge, that was what was most pivotal.
It's really great to hear. So now that you're speaking about helping with the help of your knowledge, so people who you have, what did they think about you? Like you're trying to help other people with the knowledge you have learned. What did they think about it, and what did they feel? What feelings after you like ended them and they had learned enough as they needed from you?
Yeah, so I think, there's certainly gratitude, and I'm thankful for that. But I think it's just friendship. I've had the ability to work with people in a lot of different capacities as a teacher of English, as a teacher of linguistics, as a mentor for business. And so there are a lot of people that are, just really just grateful for any knowledge that I can share. And I'm really humbled to be able to help and assist wherever I can. We develop a lot of close relationships. And it's never, whenever I find myself, putting myself in spaces where I can help people, I always find that doesn't end, that friendship doesn't end. It's always, us staying in contact and staying connected. And like I said, it's reciprocal, which just means, it's a relationship that gives back. So it's not always about me helping, but one of the reasons why I love to use my knowledge to help or assist if I can is because I get a lot out of it too. I'm learning and growing as a mentor and as an educator, and I'm also able to learn more about, like I said, different people, different societies, different cultures, different languages. And so that's really beneficial to me as well. So these are lifelong relationships that I make, and I'm really happy for them.
So the way you create a bond with them, you just create a bond with them and try in front of them to get to know more. You mentioned you like to learn about different cultures and different societies and moreover and etc. So
Exactly. Exactly.
now thank you so much for, if you like to add anything you can add.
Oh, no, that was it. That was perfect summary.
Thank you. So now how do you professional excellence in your field?
Professional excellence. Wow, that's a really good question. And I think that it's when you can commit to excellence in the work that you do when nobody is watching. So, what I mean by that is we have access to social media, right? We have Instagram and Snapchat and Discord and LinkedIn and, all these different spaces. And so, and we, a lot of the time, I feel like we are doing things for show, so other people can affirm us and to say, look what I did, look what I earned. And that's okay. It's okay to be proud of yourself. But I think that excellence in academia or excellence in work or excellence as just a person is showing up for yourself in the things that you do with excellence, even when it's dark, even when you have no one paying attention to you, even when it's hard, because a lot of the things that we want in life, whether it's a degree to finish school, or if it's the next certificate to get to the next level in life, or if it's to go to the gym to be strong for our bodies or to eat well, those things are hard, right? So if we can commit to being excellent and remembering our priorities and doing the things that are hard when no one is watching, when no one is cheering us on, I think that's what excellence looks like.
Really a powerful insight from your side, from you. So what is the core philosophy that guides, the core philosophy that guides about your career?
The philosophy that guides my career would be to be impactful. That's really it. Is to be impactful and to be a blessing to others. And I know that probably doesn't even match being impactful, certainly you can be impactful in a lot of different spaces, but to be a blessing to others, that doesn't always align with your career, right? But I feel that I have a unique platform and a unique opportunity to connect with different individuals all around the world. So if I can be a blessing by just, sometimes it's, helping people develop an ability, right? So that way they can in turn use those abilities to improve themselves and to improve their situations. And that's normal, but I don't mean that because that's kind of what is required. That's the expectation of me. But I mean a true blessing when I can not just teach a student, but teach the person. When I can really get to know who that person is and actually see them and validate them in some way, shape, or form. When I can pray for that person, or when I can just smile, and just, send a text message or an email and say, hey, I'm thinking about you. How's your research going? Is there anything that I can do? I think that sometimes we're so connected, but this is a lonely world, or at least it can be. So I think that when we can reach out to our peers, and just let them know that they matter and that they're meaningful, the work that they're doing, or just their presence, just their existence is meaningful. I think that's really important. And so I do try to be as impactful and be a blessing to others, even if it's something small, even if it's a smile to brighten someone's day. That's important to me.
That's really uh, I don't know how can I say that word, but it's really like all of the other adjectives or called you gather them, all of that. That's really great. That's a really shocking thing for me to know, as I'm interviewing someone for the first time who has this phrase,
Oh.
being impactful. So since you have mentioned that phrase, I would like to ask you that in which space are you look forward to becoming a
Oh, in all my spaces, really. Yeah, in all my spaces, I don't have a place where I'd say, oh, I've done enough blessings. I think that you can always be impactful and be a blessing to others. And like I said, sometimes when we think about blessings, we think they have to be big, right? But like I said, sometimes a blessing is just a smile because we never know what other people are going through. So I know that there's been times where I've had a really difficult day, or maybe going through a difficult or challenging situation, and a stranger smiles at me, and it just automatically makes me remember that there's goodness, in the world, and it makes me feel better, and it reminds me that no matter what I'm going through, no matter how difficult or challenging a circumstance is, this is always only temporary, and things are always going to get better. So I think in all my spaces, I need to take my inventory and say, okay, what have I done to to be a good person? And it's important, I always say this, it's important to be a good person, but don't waste time trying to prove it, right? Because a lot of times now, again, going back to social media and how it's so easy to kind of demonstrate to the world the things that you're doing, what you're earning, all those things, right? Like I said, it's one thing to be proud of yourself, and it's one thing to do good and to do well, for other people, but you shouldn't try and prove it to other people, right? You're just doing it because this is your character and this is who you want to be. And so, yeah, I think that's really it.
all right, that's really good to know. So, since you mentioned about being impactful in many spaces, so after like when people get to know about this, like you want to be impactful in many spaces or in many fields, what do you think, other than gratitude and all of the nice things, what do you think, what type of review they would be giving about it?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. Can you say that one more time?
I mean, since you're mentioning, apologies for that. So since you're mentioning they'll be impactful in all of these spaces, so what do you think? What would the world see you as? What would the world see Courtney Bailey as after she had mentioned that she wants to be impactful in every single space on Earth?
I would hope that people would see me as an agent of change, someone that's actively involved in changing the spaces that I occupy for better. Someone that is culturally competent and aware, not just like self-aware, because that's important, but also aware of the things that are going on in the world and actively working to draw awareness and attention to certain themes and topics that we see, to really change things for a greater cause. And so I that's what I hope people see me as someone that's an agent of positive change.
Hopefully, people will see you like that in the future or after watching this interview. So, now, who has been the most influential person in your career journey? Like, who's been motivating you the most? Like, if you're down and you want to quit at the same spot, what is the thing, or who is the person who has the most to keep on grinding on this goal of yours?
I say God, Allah, because of the fact that there's nothing that I'm doing by myself, right? Nothing at all that I've accomplished is because I've accomplished it. It's because Allah has given me the blessings and the abilities and everything that I need in order to fulfill the journey that He's put me on. And so when I pray and I think about, the things that I need to do, yeah, there's certain things that I want to do, but I also realize that I have a path that's written for me. So when I want to give up, or when I want to just kind of throw in the towel and say, that's it, I don't want to do this anymore. This work is hard. It's going to take too long. I'd rather be doing other things. I remember that God has a perfect purpose for me. And I just need to be obedient and remember that even when things feel hard, He's already equipped me with everything that I need in order to pursue my goals, even the hard ones.
That's really great to know that Allah has helped you in all of these hard situations. So, since you have mentioned that your goal is to be a blessingful impact in many spaces, so was this a childhood dream or life took you somewhere unexpectedly?
I'm sorry, say that one more time. I heard something about unexpectedly.
Yes, unexpectedly, as in you were planning as your future and your career goal on some other point, but life took you to the point where you have to be a blessingful impact on all spaces.
Yeah. So I think that would be wanting to live abroad. So, as I mentioned at the beginning of our interview, I lived in Turkey. I've spent, about 3 years living back and forth, and I usually work with that particular demographic. But I had to move back a couple of years ago to the United States, and I didn't want to. That wasn't my choice. So I had to figure out what my next move was going to be, or what my next moves, plural, were going to be, personally, professionally, academically, because I was back here. I don't want to be in the United States. I want to be in other spaces. I prefer to be in Eurasia or Central Asia. I really connect with that part of the world. And so I wanted to, I didn't want to come back. And that was really challenging for me to change my role. And so that's what I had to do that, but it was a blessing in disguise. And the reason why is because sometimes the most unexpected but great things happen when you, again, are obedient and you realize, okay, I don't understand this unexpected thing that's happened, but I'm going to be obedient. I'm going to follow this path, and I'm going to just be the best version of myself. So coming back to the United States when I didn't want to, I was actually able to get a really good job at a really great university in my city. And I just had a lot of different things happen that really opened up a lot of doors for me, where it led me to where I'm at now. So even though I didn't understand it at the time, it was really kind of God saying, okay, you need to be on this path. This is where you need to be. Doesn't mean that I can't go back. I can't visit, or I can't maybe live there another, in a few years. But right now, this is where I'm meant to be.
MashaAllah, mashallah. That's a really wonderful thing to hear about. So, since you're talking about your childhood or your life's unexpected turns, so looking back at your childhood, do you think you were the same as you are mentioning, like being a blessingful impact in many spaces or dreaming about it? Or you were like thinking about becoming a scientist or doctor, or what normal things are being thought?
Yeah, this is a fun question. No, I was not thinking about being impactful. A lot of the time, I think, at least when I was younger, I feel like my generation, I feel like we were kind of self-absorbed, and we were just like, this is what I want to do, and we didn't think about other people, or we didn't think about impact, or anything like that, or being a blessing to others. It was just like, okay, what do I want to do? Which isn't all bad, but now I'm just a different person. But when I was younger, and even now, I wanted to be a pilot. Like I love aviation. I love airplanes. I actually am a private pilot. I have my private pilot certificate, but that's not for a job. It's just for fun. But I'm so enthusiastic about planes and just aviation and understanding the way that avionics and aviation works. So that was my dream when I was younger, and still partially my dream now. If I always say, if I wasn't an educator, if I wasn't a teacher, I would be a pilot.
All right, that's a very well addressed answer. Thank you so much for that. So, since we're talking about pilot and related to pilot stuff, so I assume that you are fond of traveling. You like to travel around the world and view many cultures.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes, I love traveling. It's probably my favorite thing to do, but that speaks to who I am, right? Because I mentioned at the beginning of the interview being a global citizen, and I really enjoy learning from other people. Sometimes, I just have to stop and think and take in my atmosphere and listen to the sounds around me, listen to different languages and things like that. I just feel like this has helped me to grow so much, to be able to connect with different cultures and to kind of adopt different things from different cultures. So, as I said, I work a lot with people in Afghanistan, or people in Pakistan, or people in Kazakhstan, Iran, Turkey. And so I learned a lot about the Quran and Allah, and, mosques and Islam, in general. And then I've spent a lot of time in like Portugal, Spain. And so this has helped me with my language, my Romance languages. So I always, we talk about souvenirs, and a lot of the time we'll go places and we'll buy things like little trinkets or something to bring back with us as a reminder. But my souvenir is always the feeling that I get from and the things that I learn from other people. So if it's something that they're teaching me about their culture, their religion, their language, their family, those are my souvenirs.
Mashallah, that's great to know that as well as you have learned about Islam for people who are from Afghanistan, Kazakhstan, and Pakistan. You have also traveled to Portugal and Spain and traveled around the world. So when you have been traveling around the world, other than the culture and all of the like tribes and societies, what was the most favorite thing about traveling around the world for
The
you?
food. That's easy to answer. The food. I love to eat food all the time. And so it's just amazing to know, all the different kinds of foods that are out there and how people prepare food. And, usually when you're eating, people gather around a table, or, they exchange conversation. So I think food is a way to bring people together. And it's also a memory that you'll always have, something that you can always go back to. So the food is what is, something that stands out to me when I'm traveling to all these different places around the world.
Mashallah, I also love to try many different types of food and many different cuisines from around the world. So, towards your research and scholarship, what question is at the heart of your new research agenda or the current one?
Sure. So my research topic, I'm currently earning my PhD, and my research topic stems around native speakerism. And that, not many people have heard that word, but native speakerism just means that there are many people around the world that feel that native speakers of English are the ideal, and other people that speak other languages first, but that have learned English, can't, maybe are not as good as, or not as desired as someone that is a native English speaker. But I think that's wrong. And I think that, I know that I've had a lot of colleagues from around the world that teach English, and they have first spoken Pashto or Farsi or Russian, lots of different languages, but they are brilliant educators. They're brilliant users of language. And so, and certainly great at English. And so my research is about kind of understanding the experiences of my non-native English speaking teachers, and trying to understand the ideas behind language ideals. Who sets a standard for language, whether it's English or Spanish or Italian or Dutch? Who says this is the right way to speak it, or this is the right way to teach it? Because I know, like I said, my the people that I've worked with in the past and continue to work with, they are absolutely brilliant instructors. And I know that the ideals that most people have about non-native teachers is not accurate. So I'm trying to shed light on the experiences and the mind frames of people that are in English language teaching and in international education.
All right, that's a really insightful and a well-addressed answer, a well-defined answer. I mean, so I personally think that the channel of communication is language. Whatever language it is, whatever accent it is, it's just a simple way to communicate with each other. What's your thought on that? And if you'd like to add something on that.
Yeah, no, the language is so important, and I love language. It doesn't matter if we're speaking with our hands for sign language, or if we have, the nonverbal language, like our body language, our facial expressions, but then also, our voices and the true languages that we're speaking. And so it really does assist us with communication and getting to know a person on a deeper level. And the reason why I say that too is because, in my opinion, I feel that language is directly connected to culture. So I don't think that you can separate the two. And so for that reason, you're going to get the culture with the language, and that helps facilitate communication and discussion.
All right, that's really wonderful to know. So I have asked you this question because I'd like to know more about the ways and your thoughts on that, as well as that as my mom as a non-native English teacher. So she has a very wonderful 15 years of experience here in the UAE, and she's still doing great, and she's still grinding on her experience.
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
Yes, I have mentioned that I just wanted to know about your thoughts on my like thinking, and as well as that, as my mom is also a English teacher, and she is continuing and grinding on her 15 years of experience here in the UAE.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Well, that's impressive. I love that, and I would love to meet your mom and and just hear her experiences. But I think that's wonderful, and like I said, I am really impressed by people that can learn a language and then learn it to the capacity where they can teach it. One of the reasons why I became so involved in this, there's two reasons. It's because I got to hear about some of my non-native teacher experiences when I was living in Turkey. But then also, what many people don't know about me is that I actually am a non-native Spanish teacher. So I started in education by teaching Spanish, which is not my native language. And so, just like my students in class, I had to sit and learn from a book and, attend classes and, really study a lot and get my degree in it. So I can completely relate to people, regardless of what they're teaching. They can be teaching Russian, English, Spanish, French, as someone that is not a native speaker of that language. So I have a deep appreciation personally because, like I said, I'm a non-native Spanish teacher, but then a native English teacher. So I can understand both experiences, and I love to hear and learn more. But like I said, my goal is to help people that take language classes from non-native speakers to understand that their teacher is valid and brilliant and incredible and capable, completely capable, probably more capable than someone that is a native speaker. Because when you think about it, when I learned English, in a native setting, but I didn't learn the rules or the structures like the fine details of the language. I just happen to be lucky and to grow up here and hear it and kind of, acquire it. But I think that when you learn language, when you take all that time and energy, it takes thousands of hours to learn a language to a deep proficiency. So they understand learners and what they're going through. So I have a deep appreciation for anybody that's teaching a language that is not their native language.
All right, mashallah. That's really great to know that you have a deep appreciation for people who are not um, like in the setting to learn the language so early, but they are learning through their studies and all their education. So thank you so much for joining us on Wired and Inspired. I won't be pulling you much more. So lastly, I just like to know what did you think about the interview and how was it in your opinion?
I love this interview. One of the things that I love is just talking to people, and usually I'm the one that's asking the questions and trying to get to know that person on a deeper level. So I'm never, very, very rarely am I the one being asked questions of, and so I really, really enjoy the format of this. I enjoy the professionalism. I also really appreciate the transitions, because I would say something and you would listen actively, and then you would take what I said and said, okay, I've heard this, and you acknowledge what I've said, and then you transition very smoothly. So that is a skill that not a lot of people have, and I think you did so effortlessly. So I really enjoyed this, and I'm so thankful for the opportunity to come on and talk with you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for appreciating me. I'm just like this. I just listen to people, appreciate what it, and move on and transit to the next question. So thank you so much for coming on Wild and Inspired. It was a truly honorable and a memorable interview and podcast with me. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
coming up Wild and Inspired once again. So yes, everyone, she was our amazing guest, Miss Courtney Bailey. You have heard about her, we have talked about her, and we also had a little fun chit chat with her. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining and watching us.
Thank
I'll be back with another guest. Till then, stay wired to be inspired. If you would like to add something lastly, Miss Courtney, you may.
I just want to say thank you. This was a pleasure.